Gooners gone wild back here again at Old City here with Arthan. How do you feel about the match?
I mean, that's tough. That's a tough one to lose, especially the way you lose it, right? I think. I mean, it's unfortunate because you have to focus on some of the calls that were not given, right? Where it's like usually I'm typically one to not focus on, let's say, like a missed call or something like that. But there were 5 VAR checks that game. That's insane. I don't think I've ever seen a game where there was 5 VAR checks, right?
Exactly.
1 to us with that Havertz tackle, and then the other 4, right? So I'll start there just because I know that's where everybody's mind's at, right?
Yeah.
So with I'll start with ours. So with the Havertz tackle, I think that was the right call, right? I think Havertz came in and he did the right thing. He went one-legged, not two-legged, right? And he kept his other foot back, right? Yeah. And because he kept his other foot back, he wiped out Gordon. But exactly. I think the reason it looked so bad is because full speed they were coming at it like literally so fast, and Havertz is 6'4", Gordon's 5'7", right? So it's gonna look much worse, and obviously the away fans were into it, right? Exactly. But I think we won the battle of the dark arts better there because we Havertz got 1 yellow and they got 3, right? So I think that one was the right call. I think the other 2, so the Newcastle calls, right? Let's look at the goal. Yeah,
let's talk about the goal here. So overall, obviously there were a couple of things that happened there. 1, potential ball out of play. 2, the potential foul on Joe Ellington against Gabriel. And 3, potential offside. So what do you think overall?
So overall, if you look at it in isolation, right? Because that is what you have to do. If you're in VAR, you have to look at it in isolation, right? So the out of bounds, right? If you show us a certain angle, a spherical ball is going to look out of bounds, right? So we cannot say without automated technology whether or not that is in bounds or out of bounds. We saw it at the World Cup. I forget the match, but I think it might have been a Japan match, right? Where the ball looked clearly out of bounds, but if you looked at it on the goal line tech, right, it was in. It was clearly in. So I don't know if we have that tech in the Prem, but if we do and they're able to see it and show it to us, then I don't think you can make a judgment call. Now, VAR has done it 2 weeks ago against Rashford. Rashford was playing. They called his offsides, right? So they've made those calls before. So they have the leeway to make the call for us, right? But I understand why a specific VAR would not want to do that, right? Let's look at the offside, right? I think last year there was a match where there was there have been lines where it's like kind of hard to draw, and they draw a line, right? So I actually would prefer they don't necessarily have to draw a line if you can't physically draw a line, right? So again, those 2 in isolation I can understand. It's the foul for me that did it because I think that the foul he had 2 hands.
No thing. No thing. It's a foul.
Go ahead.
I think so too, Tuna. I think so. I think he had both his arms on his neck, right? And he pushed and extended fully.
So if that's outside of the box, if it's not a goal scoring opportunity, we see the referee call a foul there, stop play. What was the difference there? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I think like I said, because I think it was a foul, right? I think maybe is it because Gabby's leaning, right, already, and so they thought maybe he went down a little easy. Again, though, I think it disrupts the play because at the end of the day, right, if you have both arms on the back of his neck or at his shoulder and you push him down, right, he deflects the ball out, and then what happens? Gordon comes, right? But let's say you didn't be as physical and Gabby was able to stay up, maybe Gabby clears it, right? So I think there's an argument to make that was a foul. There was also another foul that was judged, that elbow Bruno had on Jorginho. Right?
Bruno Guimaraes, we're talking about a potential red card, yellow card, nothing called. He was going into some tackles pretty hard as well, but we saw, was that early in the first half?
Yeah, I think so.
Where he ran into and threw an elbow right into the back of the head.
Incident, I think. So but with those 2 calls, so the push and the call on Bruno, I just think to not send the ref to the monitor is just not... It's not what you should do. I think he should have sent the ref to the monitor, let the on-field ref make the decision. I think the on-field ref was right to send it to VAR. I do. I think if you're even in that whole goal sequence, I think he was right to let it go, send it to VAR. But I think it's VAR's job to be like, hey, this is a 50-50 call. Go take a look at it. Even if you don't think it's 50-50, right? If you think it's a clear foul, then it should be called a clear foul. But regardless, go to the monitor, right? So I think that's where I was frustrated, where I think the issues with the offside and the goal line tech, that's something that you need to implement, right? And by the way, the ref is completely bad today, right? But at the same time, in June, Premier League clubs voted to not vote to implement automated offsides, right? I would love for automated offsides.
And I
don't
think-
want us to argue about these stupid-ass decisions. I'd rather let's talk about how we played, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of the way that we're headed. And we hate to blame referees. We hate to do all that stuff and kind of take away from the game because I think there were some positives. One of them being in past games against Newcastle, we've struggled with the physicality.
Yeah.
And honestly, Newcastle has kind of overrun us a little bit in terms of that, where we've kind of looked like the softer side, taken some fouls, other stuff like that. So I think that is one positive where it looked kind of 50-50.
Right.
And unfortunately, it came down to a reffing decision where there were 3 chances where they could overturn the goal. It didn't happen, and then we didn't take chances to score. But overall, how do you feel about the match and where we'll be moving forward?
There's definitely some positives to the match. I think you hinted at it. Newcastle's always a tough place to play, right? St. James's Park is no joke of an atmosphere. I think it's one of the toughest away games, easily. I think the fact that when the crowd got into it, right, and Newcastle was getting physical, this was one of the first games I've seen in a long time where we just didn't let them, bully us, right? We didn't get bullied into it. And I mentioned earlier, we won the battle of the dark arts during that foul. I think that sort of dark arts battle, we were winning most of the game, right? And I really like the physicality. Another thing I loved, and I said this to a couple of the guys there, I've been calling for Havertz to play on the right side of whether that's, if he's going to play in the midfield, play him on the right side if he's not playing up top. And I think that right-hand side looked really good, especially in the first half, right? So I think the way they were playing and creating chances was phenomenal, and I would like to see that again in future games. And also I think Tomiyasu from that left back spot really impressed me, and recently his form, he won Player of the Month last month.
Exactly.
And
Well deserved, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. And to keep that going up, I think it's so good. We had such great individual performances today. Rice, Tomiyasu, I thought the whole right-hand side. I think there were instances, where... Oh, and the defense man, the back line too, right? I thought we played really well. Like, if you asked me, if this was a 0-0 draw and we came out of it, I'd be coming here to you and saying, we played phenomenal. I think we should have won that game. And I still think we probably should have won that game. I thought we were the better team.
Yep, absolutely. And I just want to say thank you for coming on to the podcast. And as always, come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners.